So, anyways, let's see. Coffee, do you have our last guest?
Yes, I do, and adding him in right now.
Okay.
Who is this person, I wonder?
I wonder too.
Dun dun dun.
Oh dear, Sharpie.
Hello, Sharpie. Welcome to the Mini Arcade Show. Hello.
How did I get here?
I point at Coffee. Him.
Oh,
What
it's
did I
always
do?
fault. It's always your fault. Anyway.
How you doing?
No, it's not my fault when the team sucks.
Okay.
I'm not talking about you guys, I'm talking about tanks.
So, Sharpie, how you doing today?
I'm doing alright.
That's cool. So, you're an artist.
Yep.
Of what, though?
Um,
I've I draw things. We'll leave it at that.
oh come on, you remember Sharpie, Gonzo?
No, I don't.
Sharpie does not safe for work stuff. Has a
So there's a whole bunch of other artists.
hey Coffee, can you provide a link, or Sharpie, can you provide a link for them?
Really, I have to do work here. I thought that was a guest or something.
Oh, usually we have Coffee or someone else. I thought
jeez.
Gonzo, out of all people, would know about this one.
Ah,
So
see what we got here.
So, anyways, I'll start the interview so far. So what inspired you to become an artist?
What inspired me to become an artist?
Yeah.
I've been pretty much drawing ever since I could hold a pencil, I guess.
That's cool. So, and what was your first favorite thing you remember drawing?
Honestly, it was my rendition of parents wrestling in the bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Wow, indeed.
You must have a very thin wall.
That and they always left their door open, so I'm like,
Oh,
okay, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've all been there once. It's called teenagerhood or whatever.
it's called growing
Yeah,
up.
the high school
No,
years.
that's when I was like 4.
Oh,
You
the mental scars.
You poor man.
Oh, that's alright. I don't let it bother me.
Well, that's a good thing. So from there, so you drew from mom and dad wrestling in the bed to what we have now is basically anthros and ponies going out.
Sharpie and quote unquote your OC here wrestling in the bed.
Ah,
There we go. Your blog just came up. Huh. One of the pics is familiar because I watched a Naughty Ponytown and it picked from you.
that's pretty cool.
People are
So-
picking stuff from me.
I think I can pull the pic up. But I'm gonna post it just in this chat, in stream chat.
Stream chat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll accept this. Even though I'm kind of curious what it is.
It's of a gray pony, a gray mare with blue hair, and it's got a light blue streak through it.
Okay. I know which one that is now.
What would that be?
The one with the gray mare with blue hair and a light blue streak through it.
Yeah.
Naked. And having a real nervous face.
Yeah. I'm not gonna post it in here because I'm seriously something came up and I'm trying to juggle multiple things at once. So it's like Why now?
But anyways, I remember following your Tumblr, Sharpie. I remember your pony used to actually was a what was it now? A sexual healing pony.
Well, pretty much one of the odd jobs she basically made for herself. Yes.
Yeah, but then it kind of grew from there to just basically just going around having fun and doing things that your pony wanted to do, and then grew to there to an anthro form to other things, which is actually kind of grew out to now what I've seen so far. You actually are now on the SL every now and then.
Yeah, I do have a hobby of making modifications and stuff. I've done it ever since about 2008.
That's cool.
Nice.
So okay, now would you consider yourselves to be first a furry or a brony? Because I see you have you have a persona as well.
Well, that's like the never-ending conflict there. You never really know for sure until you decide that one or the other sticks more prominently.
Okay. So basically, it's still up in the air at this point.
For the most part. I mean, I started out as a furry, and then I went into bronies for a while, and then it just all kind of started getting conflicted. I mean, some friends started swaying one way, the other friends went going the other way, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I do, and even though I'm gonna be remaining right in the middle, I'll just let you guys decide from there where you want to go.
Okay. So I guess we'll go into it. With because your artwork's really good. You spend time with it. You use Paint Tool Sai as your program, right?
Yeah, that's my primary.
Cool. And so you've been drawing since you were little. But when did you first realize you had a talent for it?
Well, honestly, there has been a big break in the whole drawing thing, like from third grade, of course, the age where people were kind of young and cartoons were still cool. Basically that time where everyone got their first Nintendo 64 and started procrastinating on the things they used to love most. So up until about, say, 2000 and up until about 2003, from 1996 to 2003, I had like a big break in drawing right there. Because, I mean, I knew what I was at the time. I wasn't that spectacular, but then I started reading books into drawing and all that. And then I'm like, huh. And then I finally figured out back then the rising popularity of webcomics. So the whole webcomic thing starts rising. And I'm like, hey, I should practice for this because maybe I'll do this one day. So I start drawing again, and then at first I was drawing stuff like characters from video games and all that just to start practicing out. And then I started making characters and writing and all that. And by the time I got through with the whole writing aspect, I've won many creative awards for that. And it's just, those are sitting in a pile somewhere gathering dust at the moment.
That sounds like a real success for you. It's still growing just for you. That's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Definitely keep after it, man.
Yes. So I guess we get to the main questions for now. About you being a brony and whatnot. I guess what started you to become a brony?
I'll be honest, it was never the show, and it was never the actual franchise. It was more or less the actual fandom itself. Basically, what started as a silly little gig out in TF2, pretty much I started hearing the music and I started looking at the sprays of all this awesome art, and I'm like, hey, this is something I can get into. It's real easy.
It always has to start somewhere, man.
So this time, actually the first time on this show, we actually had somebody who could actually get blamed. TF2 was the blame.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. So, okay, from TF2 to... have you watched any of the episodes?
Honestly, I have kept up with the show, but not like religiously. I'll watch it when I have spare time, but then I'm like, all right. I mean, of course, recently the Equestria Girls movie came out, and you had a lot of drama left and right. But for the when you just pick out all the pickiness aside and just watch it for what it is, you actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody who actually understands. I'm loving that.
Probably Flutters would agree too about that, because so many people were complaining about it. She was, she was actually telling people, like, wait till it comes out before you make a proper judgment.
I learned this right when I actually got into the brony community, is that a lot more people than you think are afraid of change, and that's really what it all is. It's change, and not a lot of people can deal with it.
He is so right. You know that? He is so right.
I mean, though it was very brief, still this big hurricane of drama comes in and just starts wreaking havoc all over the place. I'm like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to give it a chance whenever I have, a more appropriate time to do so.
Yep. At first, I was kind of going at it, and I'll admit it. I was the first skeptic about it. But then my honey talked basically talked sense into me. He's like, you're already about to judge it before even it comes out. You don't know anything about it. This is just previews. You don't know nothing. And I seen it, and now I'm like saying, hey, this is pretty good. And now I feel like a complete ass.
Well, some of you, well, at least you're admitting that you made an ass of yourself, but I bet the rest are like, oh, no.
Well, who cares about those do?
My only real gripe about it is that Pinky needs to shop for balloons elsewhere than the contraceptives department in the local drugstore. It's like the only thing I found wrong, and I'm like, what is wrong with that balloon?
Wow. Okay. And so you've seen some of the episodes. I guess we'll get down to your what's your favorite episode so far?
It takes a bit of thinking back.
Awkward silence there for a second.
Hang on, trying to get myself all nice and limber. Sorry. How about I pick it up with the brony typical questions?
Okay.
I seem to be doing this all this stream. Might as well. All right, let's see. Favorite episode?
I think I just asked that.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
think about
sorry. Like I said, something came up, and I'm trying to juggle many things at once. It's one of those nights I wish I was in bed.
Honestly,
Because
my
it's like,
personal...
Wait, let him speak. Let him speak.
All right. One of my personal favorites had to be Dragon Shy. It was possibly the first one that actually connected to me in a sense.
Okay.
favorite of the main six.
I don't have one.
Okay.
Ah, interesting.
Favorite background. Do you have that?
Truthfully, that one actually goes to Trixie.
Huh.
Oh boy, that's a first.
And I'll
we
give
haven't
you
had
the-
anybody who actually said Trixie.
I'll give you the only reason why, and typically the only reason was because of Equestria Girls.
Oh, the great and powerful Trixie. He's a peanut butter snackers. Yeah.
Of course, because then you realize, how humble Trixie actually is compared to like everyone else. She's not, say, the spectacular person she makes herself out to be.
That's what I love about character development.
All right. Favorite royal princess.
Honestly, before Cadence, Princess Luna and Princess Celestia were like neck and neck, but whenever they had Princess Cadence came out, I'm like, look, a pony that, actually looks like something you can go up to hug and she won't freaking cleave your head off with something.
I can see that.
Interesting.
I can see that.
Okay.
Interesting indeed. It's like, okay, how many times have we had, like, on the guest, we've had, like, Luna, 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 Luna. This is, like, the first time we've had a cadence.
Yeah, we also have a couple Celestias, but now we have an official cadence. Well,
That is a combo breaker.
let's put up that on the board.
All right, now let's see. Favorite villain?
Oh, geez. This one,
If you don't have one,
no
either, that's
contest.
okay. What?
This one, no contest, was Discord.
Nice.
Favorite Cutie Mark Crusader?
It's honestly, from my work, more noticeably has to be Apple Bloom.
Finally!
I've had more Tumblr interactions with Apple Bloom Tumblrs than any other CMC Tumblr. Some favorable, some not so favorable.
I have to give you props on that one, man. I've been waiting for somebody to say Apple Bloom. There you go, right there.
All right, now for the complete 180, least favorite character out of any of the categories.
Honestly, my least favorite character has to actually be one of the main six.
Really? And who would
that
that
would
be?
be?
Honestly, for a while she was my favorite, but then she started going out of character like crazy. And that actually has to be Rarity.
How so?
Well, as I've noticed watching the series and all that, you will happen to notice that Rarity actually breaks the character a lot. Like, either if it's the writing or just the voice acting, it's just... It goes beyond the point of, what she basically stood for versus the typical stereotype that she actually represents.
You know what? Maybe there's a reason behind that, actually. I think I know where you're getting at. You see, I think what it was is because of last season. It was almost every episode was centered around Applejack. It's like Applejack was considered a background pony at one point during season 2. Now it's like Rarity and Applejack just switch roles. Like Applejack gets more episodes and Rarity gets less roles than ever. So I can see where you're coming from on that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It actually digs back into season 2, honestly.
Okay.
I also noticed that too. It seemed like they were trying to center around Applejack more.
Okay. Well, from there, and from the actual canon. Now let's get into the Tumblr deal. What made you create your Tumblr? Or what made you want to join Tumblr?
Honestly, I more or less joined Tumblr typically because it's basically a free webcomic hosting site, as I like to put it. I mean, of course, you can share your thoughts, you can post whatever you find interesting and all that, but at the same time, you can make updates to your actual comics and all that without actually having to pay money for a domain and all that, which I used to do, and that was really
sucky.
Yeah.
So, okay. And your first Tumblr was?
My first Tumblr, honestly, was Ask Sharpie. I mean, I went through some episodes personal-wise, and at one point I was pretty much pushed to delete the blog. But after that, basically, Ask Sharpie came back. But then for a while, since I noticed that I was doing more mod posts than actual update posts, I decided to just go with my overall alias, just DeusExKittyCoon, or acronym DXKTC.
Interesting names. So what is your pony's goal, or what is actually its cutie mark means? For those who don't know.
Well, it's been disputed over the years, and it's reflected a lot of times in my work. I mean, from the very beginning, of course, she was more or less kind of like going to be a metalworking pony. But then I realized, this is going to get a little too typical, and I'm not going to fit this into an actual. I'm not going to fit this into an actual type of story where it's going to fit in with the whole fanon thing. So what I did was I completely took apart the character halfway through when I was posting, and then so I reconstructed her to actually be a whole different race, whole different nation, a whole different world. And it's just something I wanted to create from there. I'm like, okay, we've seen enough X this character, X that character, and so on and so forth, met with some seriously predictable story arcs and all that. And I'm like, as interesting and well drawn as these are, you can't really make much out of that. And you sooner or later you realize, of course, you give in to, of course, the Rule 34 monster, and you just start posting from there.
Okay. And the development of your characters, because I know you have more than one. When did you actually realize that you're going to be a popular Tumblr? Or to where you are right now, I should say.
Honestly, it wasn't something that I really wanted. I mean, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, I'm doing this just so I can get attention." I'm really saying I'm doing this just so I can share with the world that, I simply just like to draw things, and I'd rather do what I do than do what I do to basically make a selfish gain over it.
Which actually is rather thoughtful, too. So you don't do it for personal gain. And you do it because because you enjoy doing the art yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So what? Okay. So actually, that's would be a wrong question. But would you ever thought this is all basically you would be where you are right now? Would you ever thought that it would ever become this big?
Honestly, I don't really put too much thought into it because, for the most part, my aim simply wasn't, just to get popular and all that. As I've mentioned before, that my aim was to really just get my hobby out there and just show everyone what I can do and just give the general population something nice to look at for once. And so, for a lot of moments, I did realize, I have been gaining in popularity, and I've met some faces, and through popularity, you meet, of course, friends and enemies alike. Some which are, of course, those guys who just want to ruin your day, and the others, of course, that were, once your friends, but then they realize that, your cause is completely different from the cause that they want to drive out of you. And it's just like...
It's usually typical cases.
Yeah.
So, out of the non-personal gain, just because you're doing it because you enjoy doing the art and like people enjoying it, do you see a career coming out of it?
Honestly, drawing is more of a fallback for me.
Okay.
I have had offers basically to be a comic artist for Nickelodeon and all that, but then I realized, that's stepping over the line a little bit. I'm not going to be making $40,000 a year for drawing a bunch of pictures of characters that I don't even own and writing that I don't even have rights to.
So, basically, you're keeping those rights for yourself and no one else.
Yeah.
That's understandable. I can respect that too, and I can respect it on a high level because the corporation, even because I've worked in Hollywood before, the way how corporations work like that is basically they basically take away your rights, then you can never draw the same like you used to ever again because that style is no longer yours; it belongs to the corporation, which really sucks.
Yeah, that's why I never offered it.
Down with corporatism.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if any of you realize by looking at my blog, you can see that every now and then I can actually emulate a style from popular artists all the way up to people that are pretty much animators of, old 90s cartoons and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for instance, I got like the most perfect drawing of Lube from Cat Dog, and I don't know how many people actually overlooked that.
Oh God, Cat Dog. That was an old cartoon on Nickelodeon.
Oh yes,
Very
I grew
old.
up watching that.
But they were a perfect combination. It was funny.
Indeed.
So from there,
Before I let you continue on that, I did realize that you wanted to ask about basically Sharpie's cutie mark,
mhm.
in which I do believe I kind of avoided right there. So if you'd like, I can go ahead and answer that question.
That's only if you want to.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and answer it anyway because, well, it was asked, and I kind of feel bad for actually going over it.
It's all right.
Well, Sharpie's cutie mark is actually two iterations. One, of course, since she's a flyer, basically, you can relate part of her cutie mark to an old cartoon that I used to watch, basically the SWAT Cats cartoon. I mean, if you remember, that was like one of the cartoons of the day that a lot of kids would
That
like
was one of the
swarm
populars of the
around.
90s.
It was, yeah,
Indeed.
early 90s cartoon, very actiony, something that you didn't get every day in that day.
They don't
So
make
basically,
cartoons like those anymore.
So basically, the overall layout of Sharpie's cutie mark is actually a very, very rough hint of the Turbo Cat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as silly as it sounds, it also ties into a Native American hieroglyph, in which, of course, I do have some Native American blood in me. I actually tied that to a hieroglyph, which basically relates back to the Turbo Cat. And of course, the SWAT Cats, for instance, basically being adaptive to situations beyond what we know is possible. I mean, for instance, it relates to my actual life, to where I've been up and down, I've been at rock bottom, I've been on top of the world. I've been pretty much all over the life scale, and I'm not even 30 yet. So,
You're getting there.
long story short, it pretty much just means proficiency at its best. Basically capable of learning something, but not being the best at everything.
Right.
Great words to live by, man.
Oh yeah, indeed. And from there, what is your basically what's your favorite Tumblr so far?
Oh man. Honestly, if I can go by from what I watch, I usually just follow friend blogs and all that. I mean, for the most part, I do have a favorite blog in which I wish would update. And she's actually a local friend of mine. She's called Dazzle, and of course her blog, Ask Dazzle, hasn't been updated in a while still. It's like one of the more familiar cutesy type blogs that I do like to go back and read now and then, when I'm done like reading the stuff that everyone's pretty much spamming the dashboard with. It's like,
Oh God,
okay,
yeah.
it's like, okay, I followed this Tumblr. You don't have to like reblog this 500 times a day so everyone can see it, because they're gonna see it because they follow that same Tumblr.
Mhm.
You among like 10,000 people do. Okay, so calm down.
That's cool. And this person's art style is like, if you had to express it.
If I can express it, it's pretty much interpreted from show style, but since it's hand drawn, it strays more to the point of where it actually has a bit of a personal level to it.
Okay. Do you have a link to that by any chance?
I can dig one up. Just give me a moment.
Sure. Talk about this weather. It's been windy for the last couple days here.
Really now.
Mm-hmm. I also saw the fog coming in too, so we'll get some nice cool weather here.
Yeah, I wish it was that way where I am right now.
Well, I keep on telling you guys to guys, you gotta move to California. Jeez.
I don't have the fucking money!
Oh,
If I
Gonzo, calm down.
had the time to actually move to California, I would. Preferably the Los Angeles area, because that's where I feel the most at home.
Cool. So, all right. Wow.
So there's the link to that Tumblr.
Wow. I can see why.
Yeah.
All right. So from there, wow, it's not bad. Okay. Well, I may have to maybe try to set up an interview for this person one day.
Well, that's just she's willing to go for it. I mean, she's more or less dealing with some life issues, so it's
It takes time.
yeah, it's gonna take time. I mean, it took time for me to get on here. I mean, like about 5 months ago, I was actually offered to do this interview.
Oh yeah, and I think I remember that too. I think I offered you it,
Yeah, and
then nothing happened.
coffee.
Then coffee. Yeah. Yep. It happens.
I said as much as I'd like to, it's time for tanks, and then he agreed, and then we played tanks.
Yep. It's always about the tanks. Darn you, Coffee! I blame him. Well, that being said, and we're kind of going on overtime right now with the show.
Oh,
So we're like about 5 minutes in overtime. We're still good. So, I mean, with all you're talented and all, basically your generosity of, that you just basically do it because you enjoy it and you will like other people to enjoy your art free of charge. Where would you probably see your character? Let's say, for example, your characters. Where do you like to see your character go from here?
Honestly, for the longest time, I've had the initial story written. I'm going to do this on a different blog. But what I want to do is, since everyone is pretty much just, the general community, pretty much experiencing the general community mod-driven character, pretty much what I do want to do is I actually want to extend the offer out for people to actually see, like, the kind of, world and experiences she truly lives in and all that, rather than, the typical thought of, oh, hey, another pony, let's put something in it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds really awesome. And I want to thank you for coming on the show here. I mean,
likewise.
I mean, you've been very calm. You've been very intelligent with us, and you've been actually really fun. This is actually this is one of our really good interviews we had.
Absolutely.
So, but anyways, you have any last words? Words of wisdom to pass on to others?
Honestly, if I can say any last words, it's going to be, if you're not doing it right, don't look at me about it.
It's so true.
Because I have no idea what I'm actually drawing, ever.
You're just drawing because you're drawing.
Yep.
Well, thank you again, Sharp, for coming on to the show.
You're
And
welcome.
we'll probably talk to you again later.
All right.
All right, thank you for coming again.
You're welcome.
Good Lord, man. We've had so many great people on the show tonight.
And this keeps on getting better, folks. But the thing is, it is 10:07 in my time. We are 7 minutes over time. Folks, we love you. We love you all. Thank you for coming here to watch, the interviews of real people and about their own experience and whatnot. I want to iterate to people here still in the chat. Remember, folks, we said it in the beginning during our dealer announcements. Flutter Knight is still raising money for Loki. We're almost seems to be almost halfway there, but still need money to actually fix Loki's teeth. Get his tooth extracted. So, people, please help out.
Loki, do it for the cat. Do it for the cat.
Go to her Tumblr. Go to her. She's actually IMing me, huh? We're still under $200, so we're not even close to half yet. So, but still, let's donate more as much as you can. The more she gets, the more decayed teeth gets extracted. So everything should be, please help out. And pretty much, thank you all for coming onto the show tonight. And we'll probably see you all in 2 weeks from now for our next episode. So, the same time, same place. And we all want to bid you a very good night. So, thank you, Gonzo. Thank you, T-Bone. Thank you, Coffee, for helping out.
Always a
And
pleasure.
I'm going to close us out here.
Do you need a good work uniform for your office job? Go to Men's Warehouse.
Bingle bongle dingle dangle, yickety doo, yickety da, ping pong, lippy tappy tooda.
Oppan Gangnam Style.
Why is it that every time that I have to post a not safe for work picture, everybody instantly thinks I'm a clopper?